Alright, I thought I would do a little quick demonstration of Galactic Originals 2. Dev build 3, alpha 0.0.03, December 30th, 2025, 12/30/25, which is the third alpha build in the dev build folder here. You have the two regular ones. This one actually, I don't know if it has. It does. We're gonna go through all of them real quick. I don't know why I can't move in this build. Oh, never mind. So this is the prototype one for Geo2 Playgrounds. There's going to be a whole bunch of prototyping maps for the first playgrounds, just so it's not all in one level. You can see it's running all this. This is the ball spawner, and it would just break things on impact. There's no menu for the exit or anything, so you have to Alt F4 out of this one. That's basically it for that one. And then number 2. So the first one was compiled, I believe, on the 27th or something like that. This one was compiled the 29th. Now you have watermelons, or watermelon balls, I guess. And there's actual textures. It's sort of like a road or something. Somewhat. And then some cool textures here and there. And obviously this newer one, that's one of the ones that introduced it. You can just leave with the escape button. So we got alpha 0.0.03, which is dev build 3. Here's the newest one. The newest one has like a very simple alpha menu when you start up the game. So you can read all the information whenever you go here. You can play between both of the prototype maps. Obviously it says down here that, the dev build version and everything. Prototype 2 introduce not only, a brand new section of the map, which technically not brand new because it's basically the same thing, but it is still something a little bit different. Not only do you still have the spawning melons, you also have, try it, it really works. These are vehicles in the game that you can ride and everything. They also have headlights too, if you press H. And you can ride them all the way over here. If you come over here, the light will turn on. And you can basically just drift around, to be honest with you. And then that's this build was basically for testing vehicles and everything. It's still an experimental feature, but vehicles are probably going to be a big part of Galactic Originals 2. But as of for the alpha and all that, it's going to be incremented in it for a good bit. So it's just gonna be in the background all the time, where you can just drive around, do basic stuff, whatnot, do some donuts if you really wanted to. And then there is no pause menu just yet, so it's literally, you do it the same way that you exit the game anyways, which is Alt F4. And at some point there will be a pause menu. I just didn't want to increment it this early, or implement it, not increment. I didn't want to implement it so early, so that's kind of why it's just, you know, not here. And then we can exit the vehicle and walk around. There is no flashlight or anything like that, so you're basically seeing off to the abyss. And then you can get back in it, but you can't get back in through the driver's side. You can only get in through the passenger side, so that's kind of weird. That's basically it for this. There's like no sounds or anything, so if you're wondering why there's no audio in general. But this is alpha 0.3, or, you know, 0.0.3. Again, every build, like I set up in the version on the top left corner, it will always identify by the game name and which state it is in, which build it is, it's a dev build. The number basically tells anybody, basically me, but it tells anybody who interacts with this build that this is the third build in the alpha stage of the game. And then December 30th, 25, and then it just shows a shorter version of the date. So that's basically how the versions work in this game. Will always be up in the top left corner just to identify what build this game is in right now. And I know the vehicles aren't the biggest thing ever, but I really wanted to have vehicles and everything in this game, just to like test them out and everything. I will say though, I do want to kind of implement in third person mode. Excuse me. Jesus, my fucking throat. I do want to implement third person mode, which they'll probably be on separate maps, because this map, its game mode focus or game mode override is the first person game mode. And if it's going to be overriding like that, then we can't have third person mode. But you also have to have two separate buttons that will go to basically the same map, but it's copied and pasted. That's the easiest way that I see it, but the best way is probably just identifying what player, you know, hit what, and it, you know, it would change it to a gameplay or whatever. It would change it to first person, third person. It really doesn't matter. But that's basically how development is going right now for the second game. As for the first game, we aren't really working on it that much. There will probably be a few patches here and there, but since we're working on the second game, because this game will be longer in development, we speculated that it would be 3 years in development. So a possible release of this game would probably be 2028. And I know that's kind of far away, but it's just how it is, because the first game technically took 5 to 6 months of developing. It didn't take much to plan out any story or anything. Like I said before, that the first game would be super basic. Nothing really you know, changes from that. It's going to be a super basic game. And then the second game will actually have more stuff in it. But I do remember from my old projects, the original Galactic Originals 2, when I was working on that, Project Geo 2. I just noticed that there's a little bug right there. Project Geo 2. Jesus Christ, my throat. Project Geo 2 started in August 16th of 2023, and the brand new Galactic Originals 1 game that just came out, its development started around the same month and probably the same day, but obviously 2 years apart. But Project Geo 2 took maybe about 2 years to. Oh, I probably glitched it out, didn't I? But Project Geo 2 basically took like 2 years to develop and then completely cancel. That's basically how the development went for that game, because we Jesus, we tried throwing in a whole bunch of stuff and it just didn't work. So that's kind of what happened to that game. And then ever since then, we've just moved on to Galactic Originals 1, and then now we're doing it with this one. Of course, bringing some things back. We're not really focusing on story right now. We're kind of doing the same thing that we were doing with Galactic Originals 1. But I think what we'll do is have the first year, which is 2026, work on basic for the whole year, probably. Most likely. It's probably how I'm going to separate things. The first year will be basically developing mechanics and the alpha and the beta stages. And then the second year would be focusing on the story aspect. And then the third year would be basically bringing those together and then releasing it then. That's how I see the development of this game in the future. Separating everything in 3 years, and that's probably how long the development time will be. And I want this game to look good. That's why I've been using different textures and everything. Like, these are all completely different textures from Unreal. Like the tiling. If you go up here, the tiling is completely different from Unreal. The only thing that's really an Unreal asset is the car, that texture, and all of that in that texture. But I don't think it really matters, because again, it's development phase and whatnot, so it's not really gonna matter too much. What the hell? Oh. I didn't know it just did that. So what happens if I really want to test this out? I think I can clip through the wall here. No, you can't. Okay. I should have known that, because getting out of the car actually getting out of it and getting in it are completely different. For example, you get in through the passenger side and then you get out the driver's side. It's kind of weird, but that's just how it works. It'll probably be changed at some point. What? My computer's fucking hot for some reason. But it'll probably be changed at some point. It's just, as of right now, it really doesn't matter all that much. And that's basically it for this build. I just wanted to show that because there's vehicles in the game now, and it's pretty cool, I guess. We might do some little levels for the vehicles and whatnot, but as of right now, everything is sort of in a testing phase. Hell, we don't even have a pause menu yet because we just haven't implemented one. They're super simple and easy to do. It's just we haven't done anything like that yet. We've been focusing on mechanics, which is the vehicle, and also just some other things, and just level design in general. Because not only do I want the testing area, which is the playgrounds map, I also want it to be sort of a part of the game as well. hence the reason why there's so many, prototypes. Well, there's going to be so many prototypes of Playgrounds 1, and then say if we worked on Playgrounds 2, it can look the same way as, the original Playgrounds, but it's going to be completely different. This month, January 30th, will probably just, month and day, since this is today's date right here, December 30th. Probably for the next month, which is January, and maybe the month after that, probably just be focusing on, little mechanics here and there, and obviously some level design. And then once we get towards like the middle of the year, probably like March or May, we're gonna focus on a lot more mechanics and whatnot, some more complex systems, like saving and whatnot. And that's basically what's going to be happening for the development cycle of this game. I do want more things to happen for the second game, and I know that's like kind of shitty to do, because the first game really does mean a lot, especially in the series. The first game does mean a lot, but again, I wanted the first game to be as basic as possible and tell little story, to leave it in there in the gaps so it can be filled in for the second game. Maybe if we someday like come back and remake both of these games, it will be completely different, but I don't know, it all really depends how I'm feeling about remastering these games, because probably once the second game gets released, I'll probably take a break or something like that. I don't know. But it would be nice, it would be nice one day to be able to get these games onto Steam, but obviously polish them before they get onto Steam, because I am really self-aware that some parts of the game, especially the first one, isn't really polished all that much, but still telling little story here and there. That's basically my point for the first game. But obviously the second game will have a lot more and whatnot, and there'll just be overall more craziness in the second game compared to the first game. And that is basically it for Galactic Originals 2, Dev Build 3, and I guess Alpha 3, if you want to call it that. It's going to be a wild 3 years, because again, going to be separating completely different sections of the development cycle. Instead of doing it all in 1 year, it's just going to be in 3 years we'll have probably the alpha in 2026, and probably towards the end of that, maybe the beta, or maybe something completely different. I honestly don't know what is going to be different for the road of this game and everything. It all really depends on how it all turns out. But that is also, for one thing, you can't exit the game when you're in the car and whatnot. But anyways, that's basically it for Galactic Originals 2. I just wanted to do a little dev build showcase. This video will be public as soon as as soon as I get this done. There'll probably be a second playlist for the development commentary of, well, basically development commentary, but it's technically just showcasing and whatnot of the second game. So there'll probably be a separate playlist for all that stuff. Alright, I am good. I'm out.